Hey guys, welcome aboard, welcome back, welcome home, of course. And as always, that's totally dependent on where you happen to be in relation to this channel, these messages, this week, this energy, etc., etc. We are talking this week about what's up for the week of May 29th through the 4th, 2023. So let's get right into it. We start the week very briefly with a Virgo moon. And that Virgo moon is going to oppose Neptune early in the morning. And then kind of in late morning, like coffee break time, the moon will move into Libra. And then she's going to trine retrograding Pluto. Quincunx both Saturn and Jupiter. And sextile Mars. So here's the deal. Mind your dream time. That opposition to Neptune could really bring in some really powerful messaging, specifically about, let's say, your process, your productivity, or your self-care. Let's think about it that way. The rest of the day is all about relationships. Have some deep conversations, even if they're a little bit uncomfortable, right? And just be really purposeful when it comes to your actions. Deliberate as opposed to impulsive, right? And just be mindful of your potential for consequences, right? Just think 2 minutes ahead, right? You could save yourself some pain or drama on the back end. On Tuesday, the 30th, the Libra moon is going to trine the Gemini sun, Quincunx Mercury in Taurus, and oppose Chiron. Yeah. So seek balance on Tuesday. Intensity might be really high in your actual 3D life. So remember to use home, right? That home. What home smells like, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it tastes like, what it sounds like. That you only creation of what you experience home to be ideally as your guide. So practice the pause if you're confronted by situations that trigger you in some kind of personal reactivity. And I really mean deeply personal, like those things that leave a mark, right? Especially in partnerships. So if you are, if you're feeling a little constricted, right, let's say, regarding your progress, and you don't feel like you're making progress in the way that you want to, just wait, right? Just open your hands and wait. Choose to wait. That's an active choice, right? So choose to wait. The right time will always present, right? Remember, divine timing is your timing. So you can't be wrong. And if it doesn't feel right, and if it just feels like it's too much of a struggle, just wait. Just wait. The opportunity will always show itself. On Wednesday, the 31st, that Libra moon is going to Quincunx, both Uranus and Neptune, square Venus, and then around dinner time, move into Scorpio. And pretty promptly, like within 20 minutes, is going to square Pluto. So here's the deal. On Wednesday, avoid all invitation to participate in any kind of drama. Your boundaries might really be tested. And missing those cues of those testings could really trigger some, let's call it unexpected and unwanted, right? Explosions in your life, right? This is the moon square Pluto. So just be aware. in the evening, that pressure could really build and come to kind of a crescendo. So don't be afraid to go to bed early on Wednesday night. Don't be afraid to. On Thursday, the 1st of June, that Scorpio moon is going to oppose Jupiter. It's going to square Mars, trine Saturn, and then Mars in Leo is going to quincunx Saturn. And then the moon is going to quincunx the sun. So Thursday might feel like one of those 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of days, where you're putting in a whole lot of effort and really not making much in the way of progress. And it might feel super frustrating. That is okay. Again, resist the urge to lose your patience, right? Or hand out blame. No. And that includes both yourself and others as well. Again, choose patience. Reframe things. Just try again, or be in action in a different way. Waiting, choosing to wait is an active choice, right? Choosing to open your hands and opt for stillness is an active choice, and it's absolutely okay to make that active choice if it feels like that is the thing to do, right? It's really okay. On Friday the 2nd, the Scorpio moon is going to oppose Mercury, quincunx Chiron, and then oppose Uranus, right? And then about dinner time, Venus in Cancer is going to trine Neptune. The moon in Scorpio is going to trine Neptune and Venus. What does that mean? That means we have a grand water trine. The moon, Venus, and Neptune. That is some beautiful energy, right? Beautiful. This is connectivity on the higher and lower levels. So really focus on being in your own flow. And remember that you sometimes have to go through the breakdown to get to the breakthrough, right? And that's okay. You might have help with that, right? And that grand water trine is also going to be assistive energetically. So mind the ways that you are in connection, both higher and lower, of course, as Neptune is that highest octave of Venus, right? So mind your connections, mind your reconnections, mind your deep feelings. Pay attention to your capacity for intimacy and the way that you're willing to allow it, or any place where you're in resistance to it in your life, right? The key words, heart and home, right? All caps, home. On all the levels, right? So really revel in that energy. It should feel great. Friday night, do something magical with someone magical, right? Seek union. On Saturday the 3rd, at 3 minutes after midnight, the moon moves into Sagittarius, and that moon is going to very busily sextile Pluto, quincunx Saturn, quincunx Jupiter square Saturn, and trine Mars before our full moon at 10:42 Central PM at 13 degrees Sagittarius. So here's the deal. You might find yourself feeling very adventurous on Saturday. That's wonderful, right? That Sagittarius moon really wants to be in experience. And that's fun. So unhinge today your sense of propriety, and really kind of consciously choose to be explorative, perhaps in ways that you are not usually, right? Find a new place to go, find a new thing to do, things that you might not ordinarily say yes to, things that you might not ordinarily opt for, but do it. And here's the key, okay? When you do, commit to enjoyment, right? Commit to its enjoyment. Don't go with your toes dragging like, oh my God, all right, this might be weird, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, be all the way in it, right? Face first into the adventure. And let that full moon bring out your sense of possibility as opposed to your sense of criticism, okay? It's a Gemini sun. Remember, we're really talking about possibility, not criticism. On Sunday the 4th, that Sag moon is going to trine Chiron early in the morning. We get quincunxes to both Mercury and Uranus. And then Mercury conjunct Uranus. How exciting, right? Oh, hello, Missouri. At the end of the day, the moon is going to square Neptune. So you might shock yourself today or be shocked by some kind of unexpected truths. You know how sometimes you don't know that you think a thing until you say a thing out loud? So that might happen. Or you could be on the hearing end of that. Either way, the key for you is going to be to stay grounded, right? Focus on understanding as opposed to reacting, right? Find the place where you can hear whatever it is that comes out, whether it's coming from you or toward you. It's very important. So take that time. It's going to matter, right? So if you do end up in that situation and you find yourself feeling a little reactive, like you want to run away, and you have to sit down to keep yourself in that space, do it, right? Do it. Have the conversation. Measure your words and your responses and really try not to be brash or blurty, but absolutely say what you need to say and take the time to say it, because it's really going to matter. That Mercury conjunct Uranus, both quincunx to the moon, it's really going to matter how you approach that conversation. Absolutely. Ooh, yes, indeed. All right. So, yeah, let's dig in, shall we? On Monday, we've got the 6 and the 8 of Swords. So look, this is about transitions, right? And remember, swords are about beliefs, perceptions, your intellect, your process, right? How you process information, how you take in information, how you gauge whether or not it's true, whether or not it's true for you, right? So these are important distinctions. So the 8 of Swords is that belief that you are trapped, right? These swords are ringing her. She is blindfolded. So what she doesn't see is that even though she feels trapped, she is not. She could step out of these swords at any time, right? Her binding is self-binding. It's her belief that keeps her there. And the 6 of Swords it's a transitions card, right? It's moving away from those beliefs that are keeping you still stagnant or bound, right, in any way. And so this is finding, 6 of Swords to me is a card of facilitation, right? There's someone or something that's creating a new belief pattern or the opportunity for you to open into that new belief pattern and step out of whatever's binding you. So pay attention, as we talked about that dream time, right? Find those messages, find that conversation today. It might give you the key that's allowing you to free yourself. On Tuesday, we have the 9 of Cups and the 10. How beautiful, right? So we've got wish fulfillment and then this giant, glorious card of bliss, happiness, shared success, right? This is just all about emotional yumminess, right? Shared, yours and then shared. So this is a great day, honestly. Seeking balance, right? We talked about this as being that day to use home, right, as your guide and practice the pause if you're confronted or triggered. Absolutely. especially in partnerships. And remembering what your goal is, your long-term aim, is always going to keep you in check, in alignment, on your correct path. And by correct, I simply mean the one that you're choosing, to be in alignment with your highest. So just know, right? It is in choosing your fulfillment that the fulfillment of everything around you happens. So just keep it in mind. On Wednesday, we've got the Magician and the Two of Swords. How lovely, right? So Swords, again, all about ideas. This is about choosing between opposing ideas, right? It's also about, are you thinking too much? And it's creating confusion. Now, the Magician is about elemental, magic. And he has mastery over all the elements. So not only is he thinking, but he's also feeling resourced and really digging into his passions. So this reminds you to be a multi-level being, just like you are. And we talked about avoid any invitation to participate in drama, right? If you're thinking too much, you might be in the drama. And really, really also minding your boundaries. So if you know what your boundaries are, then you're going to save yourself a lot of drama on the back end. And also those triggers, right? If you're triggered, mind yourself that you have not just the right, but the responsibility to yourself to choose your boundaries over anything or anyone else's ideas. And again, don't be afraid to go to bed early if you need to. We have two kings on Thursday, Pentacles and Swords, right? So again, this is a week of ideas. And then Pentacles brings in that grounding, right? So in all the ways that you might want to be about ideas, you're still going to have to put your feet on the ground, right? We talked about this as the whole lot of effort, not a lot of progress day. So resist the urge to lose your patience or hand off blame. Choose to be in action in a different way, right? So you get to say, oh, I'm just going to press the pause button. It's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with not being in motion if motion is not warranted, or if it's not going to be productive. And both of these kings know that, and they're absolutely all powerful in saying, whoa, let's just sit here and wait. On Friday, listen, this is an interesting kind of little thing here, right? We talked about Friday as being that day with that beautiful grand water trine. So let's have this conversation. 10 of Swords. We have all these swords loading up our week. 10 is the final, right? This is required change, necessary shift in belief and ideology. This is something you have a hold of, has a hold of you, and it is not working. And look at that poor guy. He is done, right? There's no coming back from that. There's just not. Like, you have to shift. That's just the way it is. The Ace of Cups says, hey, I have a great idea. And as, of course, with all aces, we're handed that off, and then we get to grasp it, say thank you so much. I was really, really having a hard time, and I love having this new way to experience, this new way to feel, this new way to pursue my own bliss and joy, right? The Ace of Cups creates that for you. Yeah. So what a bonus, right? And we talked about really being in line with your connections, with your reconnections, with your deepest level of intimacy, right? It might feel scary, sure, but guess what? Holding out is far more painful than just giving in to your soul, to your heart. Revel in this energy. Seek that union, because these ideas are absolutely not working for you. Not a bit. You know that, right? You already know it. It's not like it's a surprise. On Saturday, look at this. Our day of full moon. Come on, this is beautiful. We have the 10 of Swords repeated, saying, okay, you've done this now. And then we have Temperance asking you, how are you going to pull forth the knowledge and the experience from all of this and synthesize it into something new, to forge it into wisdom, which is light enough to fit in your pocket instead of pinning you to the ground or to a place or to a thing or to an idea, right? This is free flowing. Look at the symmetry in these cards, right? This is absolutely beautiful. Come on, message. The lessons are light, right? You can either haul that baggage around and let it just wreck you, or you can just fold that lesson up, put it in your pocket, and move along, right? I know what I'd choose. After much work, by the way, that sounded facetious and I did not mean it to. That's a lifelong lesson. So learn it in your own time, because boy, oh boy, it's a process. On Sunday, the 4th, we have the Knight of Cups and the 8 of Cups. So here's the deal. You might shock yourself, right? Find that unexpected truth. And again, witness how that feels, right? The 8 of Cups is a quest. It's moving away from something that is not bringing you joy, not bringing you bliss, not emotionally satisfying in any way. And it's a risk. It's taking a risk, right? So we talked about this as that day where a shocking truth might surprise you. It might just come out of nowhere. It might come out of your mouth. It might come out of somebody else's mouth. But either way, there's a reaction that needs to happen, a response that's going to be undertaken. The more you can focus on understanding in that heart space, right? Have that conversation. Find the understanding, right? One of my favorite sayings is never wonder, always ask. So if something comes your way, or even if you say it out loud, only to yourself, and you don't get it, talk around it, talk through it, right? Until you get to that clarity, because the Knight's presence creates that understanding, right? Mercury conjunct Uranus is going to have some reactive language. It's going to have some provocative language. And if you're not afraid to explore it, it can next level you. So be mindful. Be in it. Show me. Look. So here's how I'm going to read this one this week. We have all these ideas, right? All this swords energy floating around. And that's cool, right? But if you're not present, if you're not in it, if you're not able to show yourself or the people around you what you mean in terms of your ideas, what are you even doing, right? This is not ideal land. This is Earth, right? This is not the ethers. We don't live in the ethers. We live on this planet, and it's our responsibility to our 3D incarnations, the choices that we made to come here at this time. We have to show ourselves and everyone around us exactly what we're talking about. We can't just talk about it. We must do. So we have orphaned. So this is kind of a weighty card, which doesn't really surprise me because we have kind of a weighty week here, right? So let's see what this card has to tell us. A sense of loss, an identity crisis, recognizing that you don't fit in, the need to belong, uncertainty about your place, right? This is literally talking about all these swords when it comes to home. We were all meant to have connections with other people within our families, society, and the larger culture. No man is an island, and it's important to recognize when being a part of rather than separate from is essential to your well-being, right? It's beautiful to be an individual, But if you're not a well-adjusted, actuated individual who is in service, what are you even doing, right? The issue at hand is the need to find where you fit. Be true to your core truths and values. Perhaps you no longer identify with a group or community the way you did before, and you need to find a new situation, right? You might be feeling a deep sense of loss or confusion. Really? Really? Address the need for belonging and know that you will find your place with others of like mind and spirit. It's okay to let go of the pressure to fit in. Not everyone will understand you. It's time to move on, right? So don't be afraid to sit and wait, but don't be afraid to act when it's time to act. And pull yourself out of your head and into your life, right? It's beautiful to be a being of discernment. It's beautiful to be a being of contemplation, but it's imperative to also be a being of action, right? It's imperative to also be a being of presence. So find that balance, seek it, struggle for it if you have to, but get there, right? Big blessings, guys. Happy full moon. It should be a fun one. I mean, you know, Sag full moon's always about experience, so face first, get in there. Big blessings.